First contact with Joshua Put.
Hello, Earthlings. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Today is Tuesday. It is the 10th of October 2017. That's on the Gregorian calendar. Of course, on the Jewish calendar, the date is different. Today is the 20th day of Tishri. We are still celebrating the time of Sukkot, and we've got one more day. Tomorrow will be the last day of this. Of course, just as a refresher, this is commemorating the time when the Israelites were traveling from Egypt through the desert over the 40 years when they were living under God's care. It's a time where we're reminded about faith, the simple things about life, that God provides what we need. All we have to do is pay attention. So this has been the period of time just to remind ourselves. So we often need to remind ourselves about such things because we can easily take for granted what we have in life, and we think that we have to have very complicated technological things in life in order to have anything of success or meaning, and that's quite really not true. If we look over at the planets and the stars, it's the same as yesterday. Our sun is over here in Libra. We've progressed 1 degree, 17 degrees. It was 16 yesterday, so you could see the pace at which it's moving. Our moon sign, like yesterday, was in Gemini. It's now at 23 degrees, so by tomorrow we should be within the sign of Cancer for the next couple days. So you should get an idea of how things are working. Of course, a reminder, this represents Libra, justice. It's the scales of balance. It's the sign of air. Air is represented in the tarot by the sword of suits, or the suit of swords, excuse me. If you take the suit of swords and if you take the first letter S away, you're left with words. So swords deals with words. Swords represents air, so the idea of air is the expression of words. Words are a gathering of energies that form sounds, and as we create those sounds and express those sounds, we are manifesting in the world. It's very important. We are learning here with the card of justice to say the things that are going to help us, to say the things that are going to help us. But what is equally as important, and maybe even more important, is to make sure we don't say the things that are going to hurt us. Quite often we do that. We don't pay attention to what is taking place at the moment, and therefore we say things that we later regret because we realize that we've overstepped the boundaries of what we should be saying, and we've actually now have to go back and we have to undo what we've been trying to do. The Lovers is the Gemini card, the moon sign. So underneath we're looking to understand that masculine, feminine, higher self relationship of understanding and how to bring down that spiritual connection to ourselves. That way all the choices we make and have to deal with and the decisions we make are all relationships and decisions that are based upon a proper understanding of bringing spirit into our lives. Okay? All right. Okay, moving on. Let's look at the first piece of information here for today. It's a video. It's 29 minutes in length. I'm going to leave this video for you to watch on your own. It's the forensic acoustic proof of a second shooter in Las Vegas. This is by Mike Adams, the health ranger. Does a really great breakdown here of how acoustic forensics works, what it is, and then he shows you through this examination and through these forensics that not only was there one shooter in Vegas, but there were two shooters. Now, if we're paying attention to the videos that are coming out, if we paid attention to the police scanners that came out, the eyewitnesses of what they're reporting, we know that there's a second shooter. We know there were more than two shooters because there were multiple reports of shooting throughout Vegas. There was not all of the shooters, in one location. They weren't just there at the concert. There were reports of shooting in 5 different casinos: Excalibur, Circus, Caesars, New York, Paris. There was a suspicious package over at the Luxor. So there was a lot going on. There's even reports of gunfire out at the airport and the alleged, situation of a VIP that was coming in or out of the city and was being escorted. It seems as if there was a bigger event that was going to be taking place, and there were those who really helped to stop this bigger event from occurring, thank goodness. So check this video out. It really gives some good information and some really good evidence so you can see for yourself. And he even goes so far in this video as to point this information out for the FBI, asking, have you done this basic amount of scientific or forensic investigation? If not, what's the problem? And, hopefully they will take a clue from this, but I think they have their own agenda in mind. We already understand what happened, okay? This was a gun running operation that went bad. There's something more than meets the eye. ISIS is involved. This man has some sort of background, either as an FBI or some intelligence agencies, alphabet agency. There's a whole lot more that is going on than what we're being told. So we'll just continue to monitor this to see where that unfolds. The other big story that's taking place, I talked about yesterday and is going to be unfolding, is Weinstein, the Harvey Weinstein situation. Um, you can tell this is a very big story. The reason you can tell is very simple. Harvey Weinstein has been accused of this situation for a long while. He was beloved in Hollywood by many, many of the celebrities. Those like Meryl Streep has gone so far as to refer to him as her god. Well, yesterday she completely turned her back on her god after this information came out. There wasn't even any moment where she seemed to defend her friend. There was absolutely no defense. She just turned on him because somebody must have told her, this is bad for business, you better get away. Same thing happened with his production company, that they got rid of him, and now his name is, they're going to have his name, or trying to get his name removed as executive producer from the television shows that he has been working on, because they don't want his name to taint their business. You've had members from that company, Weinstein, also resigning. So there's something going on behind the scenes that all of these people closely connected to him are distancing themselves very quickly. Obviously, this is a whole lot bigger than it was, because if there was any inkling that this man was innocent, why aren't these people around him stepping up to defend him? Why did Meryl Streep choose to take the path she chose to condemn his behavior, as opposed to taking the path that she's taken in the past, where she's, glorified and praised him for what he's doing? Okay, something more than meets the eye. But here's the important part of the story that we are not really hearing about, and that is the connection between Harvey Weinstein and members of the political party, the Democrats. As Democrats denounce Weinstein, the Clintons and the Obamas stay mum. The Clintons and Obamas did not immediately respond to report on longtime Democratic Party donor Harvey Weinstein. Aides to Clinton have questioned why former Secretary of State has not addressed the issue. Many Democratic office holders were quick to repudiate disgraced Hollywood executive Harvey Weinstein following a bombshell report detailing decades of alleged sexual harassment. The former Democratic presidents Barack Obama and Bill Clinton, as well as former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, all of whom have long-standing ties to Weinstein, a major Democratic Party fundraiser, have not publicly addressed the accusations. Representatives for the Clintons have not responded to the comment for the story, and the Obama's office declined to comment. The recent report in the New York Times cataloged accusations of sexual harassment against a filmmaker that spanned 3 decades. 3 days after the report, Weinstein was fired by the company he co-founded. Longtime Hillary Clinton aides have been confused by the former Secretary of State's silence on the issue, questioning in private why she has not weighed in at all. Weinstein has long been a Clinton donor with ties to the political family. Weinstein was one of many Hollywood who donated to Bill Clinton's legal defense fund in the 90s. A Washington Post report from the time stated, more recently, the Clintons rented a home next to Weinstein in the Hamptons in 2015, and Weinstein served as a connector between Hollywood stars and Hillary Clinton's campaign in 2016. Weinstein raised about $1.5 million from 1990 through 2016, according to data from the Campaign Finance Tracking Center for Responsive Politics, and was a bundler for Clinton's 2016 effort, including a star-studded fundraiser for Clinton in June 2016 at Weinstein's Manhattan home. Clinton personally headlined multiple fundraisers Weinstein was involved in, organized during the campaign. CRP's Open Secrets website shows Weinstein was a bundler for Obama as well, and the Hollywood giant visited the White House on several occasions during Obama's tenure. At a White House event for the student films in 2013, First Lady Michelle Obama credited Weinstein for making the event happen and praised him as a wonderful person and a good friend. Former President Joe Biden, who had been outspoken on the issue of sexual assault, has also not appeared to make any public statements about Weinstein since the report came out, and the Biden Foundation did not immediately respond to CNN's request for comment. Several Democrats announced their intention to return donations received from Weinstein or donate them to charity in the wake of the Times report, but as a bundler, much of his work for campaigns was gathering up donations from others into large sums, making potentially returning Weinstein's donations more complicated for politicians like Clinton and Obama. An editorial for the New York Times on Friday implored the Clintons and Obama to disavow Weinstein, calling on Democrats to make sure his status as a major party donor would not prevent anyone from speaking out. Some Republicans have seized on the Weinstein report and his ties to the Democratic Party. Okay, so you got more to the article. You can go ahead and finish that. You can see what's going on here. But big problem, okay? The Obama's daughter, Malia, went and just did an internship with the Weinsteins, with Harvey Weinstein. Okay? Hillary Clinton has been accused of being involved with human trafficking situations. She's been accused of being involved with pedophilia problems and issues. Bill Clinton, we certainly know, is a rapist. And we have all of these despicable characters taking money from this man, Harvey Weinstein, and we're supposed to turn a blind eye and pretend like this didn't happen or there's no connection. Again, like I said, all of the women who have stepped forward are the same women who are out there criticizing Trump. It seems as if this whole group has an agenda, and it's not just the women. I mean, we're hearing Matt Damon's name coming up, that he helped squash a story that was going to be told about Harvey Weinstein 13 years ago. Okay, that's very despicable if that is true. If Matt Damon squashed a story, he should be ashamed of himself because he has daughters. He has a family that he should be protecting. And probably at that point in time, he was just a young, dumb punk who was going to do whatever his people around told him. And he seems to be like that, but maybe he's way too compromised. I mean, why would he do something stupid like that? Or Russell Crowe as well. Just young, dumb actors who willing to do anything in order to have their money keep flowing in. You know, I don't think it needs to be this way. You know why it's like this? It's because we have continued as a society to accept these things. And when we continue to accept that these things are okay, then we'll keep pushing the boundaries and accept even more and accept even more. When we as Americans say we're tired of this, then we'll correct the situation. But as long as we're willing to accept this sleaze that is being put out continually by members of the Hollywood community, then we're going to keep getting sleaze because they're going to think that we think that is okay. Unless we speak up against these stories that are going on, they're going to think that we think this is okay. But I can assure you that across middle America, it's not okay because people don't behave this way. And what needs to be done is it needs to be brought to light. This is all part of the swamp that's being drained. So good news for that. All right, switching gears here, Florida, we had the largest food stamp fraud bust in history. 20 million Muslim store owners were arrested. Along with some other multicultural thieves, 12 were charged with running $20 million food stamp fraud scheme. South Florida reached another fraud milestone for what the Justice Department called the largest combined financial fraud loss for food stamp trafficking takedown in history. That dubious new record, federal prosecutors claim, is $20 million and resulted in a dozen charged with doing the government's dirty via food stamp fraud, wire fraud, and conspiracy to commit wire fraud. The 12 charged over the four cases were Hassan Salah, Mohammed Al-Obaisi, Reynold Francosis, Ihab Hosoma, Mohammed Atin, Maria Jordana, Joanne Baker, Yosef Joe Hamadan Zaran, Omar Jahi, Yalal Hasufaf, Andy Javar, Harara, and Father Javier Harara. In this instance, 8 small convenience stores in South Florida committed a staggering amount of fraud in a relatively short amount of time, said Karen Citizen Wilcox, special agent in charge of the U.S. Department of Agriculture of the Inspector General. In a release, these retailers created an illegal benefits exchange that defrauded the American taxpayers and denied healthy foods to needy children and their families. The store owners who had allegedly orchestrated this trafficking scheme pocketed millions in fees, which they charged for converting some food assistance benefits into cash. Okay, this happens because we allow this to happen. When we allow members to come into our society that don't have the same respect for our society that we do as Americans, then you're going to get this kind of situation occurring because people are willing to do these kind of things because they don't have the same respect that the average American has. So we really need to pay attention to that. You know, one of the things that it's very easy to recognize is over the last 8 years when we had another president in a Democratic administration, there was a really anti-American sentiment that was expressed, that was taught to the children in the schools, and is really embedded itself in society. That is why we're having such a battle right now with something like the national anthem, the flag. The very basic symbols of patriotism for our country have been attacked. So we'll get back to where we need to be. But Americans have lost pridefulness in their own country because of the brainwashing that they have been taught that we need to have this diversity. Well, when you have diversity in a situation and that diversity overwhelms the originality, the things that were original and unique are no longer original and unique because you've just destroyed them by liquidating that pool with diverseness. You don't always know what all the diverseness is. You're just virtue signaling saying we're open to everything. Well, sometimes being open to everything isn't always the best way to go about it. Sometimes we need to be a bit more discerning, and those are the issues that we're finding and the problems that result come from when we're not being vigilant and paying attention. Now, today there's going to be, looks like there's going to be another truth bomb that's going to be dropped by James O'Keefe. There's a video out there right now online talking about a producer over at the New York Times, producer who's involved and responsible for seeing the videos that get up online, and he really is doing quite a bit of bragging in the video about his power that he has there and the control that he has over the way in which information gets out. So you want to make sure you check that one out. And tonight we have Truth with James O'Keefe. He's going to be on OAN, One American News Network. One American News Network brings you this exclusive one-hour series following the active investigations of a legendary undercover journalist and investigative reporter, James O'Keefe. O'Keefe's Project Veritas has exposed some of the most sensational corruption and lies in the investigative journalism. This time O'Keefe has targeted on the Holy Grail of media. One American News Network delivers the takedown video from Project Veritas. Don't miss this amazing and revealing 3-part series exclusively on a One American News Network. Okay, so you can find out online how you can get that. It's very inexpensive, but definitely something well worth the watch. All right, thought I'd switch gears here, look at a topic we haven't looked at in a while, UFO related. This is crop circles. Crop circles. I thought we'd check and see what some of the crop circles that might have occurred. And let's go take a look at the month of August here, August 2017. We've had a number of them. Okay, you can see the shapes here. A little better close-up image. It's very interesting ones. I kind of like the spirograph effect, huh? You all remember the spirograph? Here's one that came in This was on the 25th. Very interesting looking one there. Wheel within a wheel. This one occurred on the 26th. Okay, we definitely have what appears to be, is this kind of information that's being broadcast out? Is that what this represents, perhaps? Very interesting. We've got a circle within a circle within a circle, seeming to broadcast something out. Maybe this information in here is significant. Okay. So there you go. Those are the some of the crop circles, the links available. You can check it out. Really go through and look at these. They're very detailed, some of these. Definitely detailed. Now, we've also had a number of UFO sightings that have been going on. I wanted to bring you up a compilation page. You can check out a couple of them and just follow the links to other ones. Here we have September 27th, 2017. This is the 17th. Here we have Jefferson City. Jefferson City. There we got the one object right there. All right, very interesting. Looks like just a cloud of smoke or something just sort of hanging there, huh? Nice little ring hanging up in the sky. Okay, it was the 17th, 18th. All right, nothing there. Here we have something over France. This was the 20th. Okay. What do we got here? Let's see where this little thing is. See that right there, little streak across the sky. It goes really fast. Pretty fast. So videos available, you can check it out. Here's one, couple linked side by side in New Jersey. So just a couple links, you could check it out. Don't you think I forgot about UFOs, because I certainly haven't. There's so many other stories going on right now. Okay, so let's wrap things up here. Let's bring things around into some nice, good, positive thoughts. This is a thought here. It's over with today's Jewish calendar day, the daily thought, explosive joy. It says joy is an overflowing, an explosion. Sometimes something enters a person's life for which he could never be prepared, and his previous tidy self erupts in song, dance, and joy. Approach the divine with a calculated mind, and there is no window for joy. Embrace the infinite beyond the mind, and let joy surprise you. Okay, very important, very important. We go into situations so locked in of what we think they are, and we sometimes don't see beyond that because we're not able to see past the own locked in vision we have. And so it is important to remind ourselves of the little things, of the joys that we have around us, and kind of be open to something different. Be open to the universe showing us something that maybe we weren't seeing. Maybe we weren't seeing. I think the problems we're having in the world these days are because God has been, or an effort to remove God has been underway for some time. And so I see that this has been a real problem. And as we are getting back to that point of understanding the important relationship for God in our lives, things start to get better. But there is a weeding out process. There's a separating of the wheat from the chaff. You've got all of this mix of good people and bad people all together. You got to weed them out. The people who are getting weeded out for doing things, they're the ones who are crying censorship and, wanting to stop people from using certain words and saying certain things because they're being called out for their, bad behavior. We just need to continue to call out each other's bad behavior and, even more importantly, encourage ourselves for the good behavior, because we are all here responsible for each other, And we need to really, honor that and stop, pushing each other down when we try to constructively criticize and assist what we're about. Here's 1 John 4, verses 1 through 6. Dear friends, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits to see whether they are from God, because many false prophets have gone out into the world. This is how you can recognize the Spirit of God. Every spirit that acknowledges that Jesus Christ has come into the flesh is from God. But every spirit that does not acknowledge Jesus is not from God. This is the spirit of the Antichrist, which you have heard is coming, and even now is already in the world. You, dear children, are from God. You have overcome them because the one who is in you is greater than the one who is in the world. They are from the world and therefore speak from the viewpoint of the world, and the world listens to them. We are from God, and whoever knows God listens to us, but whoever is not from God does not listen to us. This is how we recognize the spirit of truth and the spirit of falsehood. Now, what is all this talk about? You are from God and we are not from God. And, what is this about? It's very simple. When we go back to the stories in the Garden of Eden, when we go all the way back to those beginning stories, we were told that there was an adversary that has been trying to put down God's creations from way back in the beginning. When we read through the Nag Hammadi library and we understand that there is more to the story than what we've been told, we get a picture of this Yaldabaoth character who came to Earth and who was really trying to trap God and was making all of the efforts to trap God. And when Yaldabaoth was unsuccessful, then he really got upset and tried even harder. And this process has been going on. We have this archonic influence that has been going on. Archons are little demon-type beings that are out there, not just physically at times, but often and most likely in the shadow realms. And they influence us in our dream states and sometimes in the waking states and in all different phases of life where we're being affected by this. And so the part of ourselves where that Spirit of God resides inside of ourselves, that's the part that's greater than anything that could try to challenge us. But that spark of God, it's hidden in a place where most of us are never going to look because it's inside. That's why we're challenged all the time. Go inside. The answers we need are inside. But we're so busy focused on the outside that we miss the very location that we need to go to find that great strength within ourselves. Those who do go within, they find that strength. But no matter how you try to encourage people to go inside, there's always that resistance. And the resistance comes from teaching because people have been taught over these last 8 years, 12 years, 14 years, on and on. They've been taught to step away from the things that really help us. They've been taught to step away from this God force that exists within us. So let us pray. Heavenly Father, Heavenly Mother, this day may our hearts and our minds be open to understanding the influence of your essence in our lives. May we understand the true nature of the Christ that flows through each and every one of us. And may this day be a day where we not only acknowledge this spirit of love, the spirit of God, this Christ light in us, but we also share this with each other selflessly and endlessly, that we may all grow together. In Jesus' name, amen. So let us go out into the world, my friends. Let us find this light within inside of ourselves. Let us shine this light bright. It's not a big, difficult thing. Just imagine a light turning on in you. Just use your imagination. Imagine a light switch, and you flip the light switch on, and the light turns on. And as the light turns on, and you are able to get rid of more of the things blocking that light, you start to find out that your light shines brighter. And as your light shines brighter, people respond differently to you because they want to be around the light because then they can see. That's it, my friends, for today. I'll be back tomorrow with more news and information. Till then, I love you. Keep loving each other. I will talk to you soon. Peace. I'm out of here.